with the pace at which India is growing, it is very important to ask this: what kind of India do we want? Do we want a lush, green, beautiful India, or
discussion panel is going on. One person is environmentalist and one person who's a businessman. What do you think they'll talk to come on this middle ground?
save the planet? It makes good business sense. A good, healthy population is important for business.
When you think of going into the extreme forest, how perspective changes.
I realize how little we need to live. Because you see these animals, there is no greed in animals. A tiger only kills how much it eats.
We have to solve the problem. You have to control the need over greed.
We end up doing what media tells us is cool. The need that didn't exist got created. If it became cool to be minimalistic, people would become minimalistic.
Many people dream of awards, but you've lived them. What dream now feels bigger than any award?
If somehow I can take this beautiful, not very known part of our country, that would be bigger than.
Amo, first of all, thank you for being part of Impact Stories.
I'm very happy to be here. It's a lovely place.
Thank you. First of all, I want to know where your journey all started. It comes from the childhood. Jahan se bhi where we feel comfortable, you want to share your story.
Well, typical South Indian boy born about 200 kilometers from Bangalore. Grew up in Bangalore all my life. I'm very happy that both my parents are academics. So we had a lot of books at home. So, you go back in time, this was the time when there were no televisions. So most of our knowledge used to come from books. So I used to read a lot of books. Then what is interesting is that I got very, very kind of geeky at some point and picked up computers when I was in school. There was no internet then. And my first job happened to be a software job. I was in Amazon when Amazon was 4 people in India.
Oh,
Then, I was really geeky, right? I loved computers. Even today, I can write some code if somebody gave me a computer. I also went to San Francisco, did a startup for a couple of years. So very different than what I do today. But the fundamental philosophy has been that I've only done things that I enjoy. And then, of course, you could say that the bug bit me, the wildlife bug bit me. But yeah, I think I've done a whole lot of things in life, just purely out of interest. Somebody was asking me, like, we were doing some shoot in the night, and then I started stargazing. And then my shoe people are like, you like stars? I said, of course I like stars. So I have a degree in astronomy and astrophysics also in the middle of all this.
acha.
I think fundamentally it's curiosity, right? I just get curious about things, and so whether it's software or whether it's astronomy or it's wildlife or our planet, I would say curiosity drives me a lot.
So what was the turning point? You thought of being in the wildlife?
My joke is I keep saying I couldn't find parking in Bangalore. I had to get out of Bangalore to find parking.
But
Yeah. So when I started my day job, for my first salary, I went and bought a camera. I remember when we went to Mysore, which is about 140-50 kilometers from Bangalore. We were excited for 3 months. We're going to Mysore. Now I go in the morning and come back in the evening. So when I could afford, I started traveling, right? And the more I traveled, I said, wow, there's so much magic here to explore. So I said, let me do this part-time. That's how I started. And then one day I felt that, no, this is what I want to do. This is what I love. This is what I enjoy. And I said, it was very hard because you couldn't easily create a career in wildlife photography. Even today, it's
very hard. Required a lot of patience. Yes.
Patience, and also don't pay.
Yeah.
Right. I still remember, right? Like, if it costs you, I'm saying back in the day, about 15, 20 years ago, it would cost you 10,000 rupees to go to a forest and come back and take a few pictures. somebody would pay you 500 rupees to print it. So it doesn't make any economic sense. So I said, let me take a plunge any which way. I was in a very well-paying job. So when I jumped, my salary became 5%, not 50%, 5% of what I was earning. And then I was like, what do I do? See, 50% you can still figure out something, right? So I said, I won't go out for dinners. I won't go to restaurants. I won't go to theaters in the weekends. Slowly, I start cutting down my lifestyle, my expenditure. But what I also figured out was that during that phase, you don't need a lot to live. Your lifestyle adjusts to, if you have a 5,000 rupee in your pocket, it'll adjust to 5,000. If you have 5 lakhs, it'll adjust to 5 lakhs. And I have a lot of friends, right? Like, and people who earn very differently from each other. But everyone's running out of money by the month end. So I learned a very important lesson, I would say, that a lesson, and I would say a skill, that you can kind of tailor your life around how much money you have. Otherwise, no amount of money will ever be enough. You can say that, you can say that I need 10 lakhs a month, or you can say 1 lakh a month, or you can say 5,000 a month. But I think if what I'm chasing is really contentment and happiness and joy, of course, money is important. You need to pay bills. But I'm saying that you can make some, I won't even say sacrifices, right? Some changes. Okay, let me put it this way. When I used to work, I used to save up all the money to do trips to the wild. Now I was getting paid to do those trips. So I keep saying that I get paid to do what other people pay to do. So the whole perspective switches, right? Yeah, of course, you have to make some compromises in somewhere else, and that's fine.
So I've heard that you are 2 times Grammy Award winner.
So my friend Ricky Cage, he won the Grammy for these 2 albums, and I was art director on it. So I have
Happened to be,
he's a very dear friend and a very close collaborator over, I would say, almost 2 decades. And that's the beauty of some of these relationships, that we have collaborated many times, and all these projects, the Grammy ones, we've not had any commercial conversation at all. There has been not even a conversation, let alone be a commercial angle to it. He said, I love this thing, and I said, oh, let's do something together. And that's how these things have come to be.
How you measure the success of a film? Is it the worth of awards, or it's like something more to a story?
You want a short answer or the long answer?
I want both the answers, whatever you feel more comfortable on.
I think for different people it's different, obviously, right?
Some people say that it's a good story because it got awarded, right?
Yeah.
So someone who making the film, there's more to the effort than the award.
So I thought about this long and hard. Why am I doing these films? Because when you make films for awards, they're a very different category of films. When you do for box office, it's a very different kind of film. We wanted to reach more people, and that's been our biggest goal. The last film we did with late Dr. Puneet Rajkumar, who's one of the most amazing human beings I've ever been blessed to even meet. And his last film, we did it together, which was watched by about roughly 2.5 million people in theaters and 500,000 kids. So I went to a theater to just in Mufti to see how these kids were enjoying. And it's a lot of wildlife. The film has a lot of wildlife. I saw government school children from villages who were taken by an NGO to watch this film, whistling at hornbills and tigers. And I said, okay, my job is done. And I told my team this, I said, look, about 3 million people have watched our film, roughly 3.5 million in theaters. And it's a 90-minute film. So if you multiply 1.5 hours, that's 4.5 million hours. So we've been able to create some 4.5 million hours of joy. Just happiness. And for me, that's the biggest award. That's the greatest metric, because in a world where we can't make somebody happy for 5-10 minutes. He can just get people to be happy just watching nature, because not everyone can afford to go into nature. So we want to take nature to them. So if we feel that for 1.5 hours they switched off everything from their lives, and there was no violence, there was no gore, nothing, and just watched nature and were whistling at elephants and tigers, I thought that was the greatest award for me. And even today, that's the only metric that we all work towards, even in my team, that how many hours of joy have we been able to create. So,
But do some efforts go unnoticed? Obviously, they'll require a lot of efforts to make a film, right?
well, a lot of effort, but the journey is also a lot of fun, right? And we enjoy the process. For us, every bit of the process is joy. Like the way you are enjoying this process, right? I'm sure you love what you do. Now, the output, of course, few people will see, but we are also having fun. So for me, it's like this. I mean, how can I say it's effort when all I'm doing is going into the wild, spending.
So some people think that, oh, they have done a lot to the project and this thing.
It is a lot of effort.
Yes.
It's a lot of hard work. There's no doubt, right? Sometimes you have to walk in torrential rains, get bitten by leeches, ticks, scratch in all the wrong places, permissions, red tape, bureaucracy, all of these things. But when that day we get that one shot, everything just feels worthy of it. And but it's also how you look at it, right? If you think, oh, it's a lot of work, this and that, then your perspective shifts. Then, hey, this is like part of the gig. Then you
So which part of your life you enjoy the most?
I think I enjoy the process of creation a lot. Any creation, like it could be writing something or it could be thinking about something, because even before you put the product out or you put the film out or you put the content out, there's already like a high that you feel when you visualize what you're doing. And I think that process of creation is extremely beautiful. I'm sure all the artists you must have spoken to also have said that, because in some way, when you visualize, you're living that in your head. You're living that success, or the final product or the end goal of it. So definitely creation is one of the things that I love. The second is impact, which is also your favorite subject. To see it touch people. One is to be touched and the other is to see people being touched by it. And I think that is highly fulfilling. And just to see people happy, and just you feel that all the effort that you didn't go waste. Because with impact, the problem is that we always try to measure it, right? Oh, did I do what I was set out to do? Did I do the change? And it's a thankless job sometimes, because you don't see it.
That was my question earlier.
That was yeah. So you don't see it for decades. You have interviewed some of the wonderful people. You know how many decades they took to come to that place.
Yeah.
And nobody would have seen the journey that goes, especially in impact, because these are long drawn things. You're talking about this amazing, human being, People Baba, right? I follow him. And if he puts a seed somewhere, right, will he be there to see the shade of that? But yet we do it. Like all the trees that when I drive around now, Delhi, none of these trees were planted by us, right? We are enjoying the merits and benefits of somebody who planted these trees. So impact is...
That's why I said sometime efforts go unnoticed.
Yeah. In that way, definitely, because one is time scales are large, and it's like we are not there to see it. When I come to Delhi, I was telling you earlier, all the people who gave their lives to the freedom struggle, they are not here to see what we've created. Look at the city, look at the amount of development, and it's wow, right? But they're not here to see it.
I'll tell you a similar incident. The way my family was driving around India Gate, and they always used to say, oh, India Gate is in Delhi, right? But they never knew that each brick in it is a name written over it of all the people who has died on the war. They were not aware about it. They only knew that India Gate is in New Delhi.
You're right. Not just unnoticed. People are not there to see it. Both ways, right? Yeah. But yet they did it. And sometimes I feel a little ashamed myself that for all that they've given, what am I sitting and doing with that freedom and with all the, we've not, I question myself, right? Have we earned this freedom? Have we, have we really, right? And I question myself because we stand on the shoulders of giants. Our parents have given this life to us. They've fed us well. They've clothed us well. Um, and it's taken me a lot of time to understand that I'm not entitled to most of these things. I was just lucky enough to be born in a place which had all of these things. And I think there's a massive amount of responsibility I feel on my own self to pay it forward. Right? I mean, we have so much that has just been given to us. We could have been very easily born pre-independence, born post-independence in this new India, the great, beautiful India that has been just handed to us. And what are we doing with it? And what am I doing with it? Is a big question for me.
People take things for granted, obviously. What to do?
I mean, I used to take it for granted.
Yes.
Sometimes I still do, I think, but
See, we are realizing only because we are talking about it.
Yeah.
People don't even care.
So I also blame myself as a filmmaker or as a storyteller. It's also our responsibility to having seen this, having seen the light, so to speak. I think it's also our responsibility to put this forward, like what you're doing or like what I'm doing. But you're right, the quest has to start from within, right? And we don't have to go very far to see it, right? Like when I drive through the cities and I see the people without the access that we have, even just what I was driving here, I was saying, it is right in front of us for us to see. It's not hidden somewhere. We see it, but we want more. We're not happy with what we have, right? And I think that perspective sometimes is missing. Like one of the exercises I do personally is that I fast sometimes. I do like a 36-hour fast. And in that 36 hours, I understand what hunger is. Because right now we say we are hungry, but that's not hunger. We are just like getting distracted by food. So when you do like a 36-hour fast or something, I realize, man, I've taken food for granted. And I understand what hunger is. So when people say there's hunger on the streets, I can now empathize with that hunger because now I felt it. So it's hard because you have to do these things to like understand hunger. Otherwise, how would we ever understand hunger? For the longest period of time, I didn't know what hunger is because we eat before we're hungry.
But this is not just for the food. It's for the every part of
Yes.
Yeah. For the forest, for the nature, for what you said earlier, that what we need should be the priority first. What actually we need, but what we prioritize the most, I think that is not the need of the hour. Nature is need of the hour, but people only care about the things we can.
Well, I mean, it is unfortunate because I spend most of my time outside cities. I understand how bad the air is here. But if you've not been outside, you won't know it's bad. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you spent a lot of time in the hills. Can you not tell the difference?
100% I can tell the difference. But again, the question comes, what all the role we are playing for it?
I think like we spoke earlier also, I think the first step is for people to know the consciousness part, right? That people have to first see, oh, this is what is happening. Now, you rightly said that we focus on all the things that may not be as important. And this is something that's not
as important, but not the first priority.
Yeah. Not as a priority. You think the problems that we faced in the last few years, we've not had shortage of computers and laptops and cell phones and cars. We've had shortage of water. Right?
Agree.
And we know about Delhi's AQI. A recent research was published by, I think, Chicago Health Institute, if I'm not wrong, which said that on an average, if you live in Delhi, your life expectancy drops by 10 years. If I ask you, can you give me 1 hour? It's going to be very hard for me to get an hour from you or vice versa, but we are okay to give 10 years of our life. But like you said, it's because it's not immediate. We don't see it. We are complacent with it. And how was this planet given to us when we were born? Growing up, I had fresh air, fresh water. I'm sure you had too. Isn't it our responsibility to at least, if not make it better, hand over the same exact fashion to the next generation?
It was handed over to us also.
Yeah.
Are we taking care of it?
Exactly.
So no matter how nicely or carefully we hand over to the next generation, it will hamper for sure.
No, we've already not. Kids today don't have access to open playing areas. Kids today already have a lot of breathing issues and lung issues growing up in these cities. How did we get here? And how are we okay with it? Okay, let's say however we got here, development, industrialization. But what are we doing about it? Do we want a population which is wealthy, well developed, but have health issues? I mean, we used to, 10 years back, it used to be a sci-fi fiction novel that you had air purifiers at home. But now it's become reality. It's no longer science fiction that you need to have purifiers in home is not fiction anymore. Yeah, but how quickly do we learn? Like we spoke of COVID, people forget fast, right? If you think of why COVID happened, it is whether you want to believe this theory, that theory, any theory, it was because the wildlife and human barrier was tampered. Everyone agrees. The entire world could come stand still. So somebody told this very interesting. If you take all the COVID viruses that affected humanity and put together all of it, it'll be less than 1 gram, I believe. So less than 1 gram could bring the entire world to stand still. So where is human ego gone? In front of nature, we're nothing. It's this amount that could bring the entire world to a standstill. So I think human ego needs to get a check because we are nothing in front of nature. A heat wave, rains, all cities stop. And this is not an Indian problem. I was in Switzerland a couple of months ago, one of the most developed countries. There was a village that got washed out because of a landslide. So whether you are rich Swiss country or nature does not care.
I'll ask you a very smart question, okay? Let's say there's a discussion panel is going on. One person is from an environmentalist who want to talk about more about conservation in these things. And one is a person who's a businessman who want to talk more about building for the development, the sake of development, he wants to talk about. What do you think they'll talk to come on this middle ground?
So I have a very simple answer to this. Save the planet, it makes good business sense. If there is no planet, if there are no healthy people, what are you selling and who are you selling it for? A good, healthy population is important for business. Long term. See, if you think short term, yeah, but if you think long term, and you look at the companies that are optimizing for long term, right? They care for their end users. Because if you are healthy and wealthy and you live to be 100, you will buy my product for 100 years. If you're going to suffer and you're not going to live that long, what are you going to buy? So for anybody to buy something, they should be healthy, they should have enough money, and they should, live. So if we do these short-term things, right? Let's even take something as simple as, I'll give you a very simple example. There's a park here, I'm just saying, right? Now, if you build something in the park which is nature related, you can make money for the next 5,000 years. But if you just dig it up for something, you've done it. That project is over, you can't make any more money out of it. So ecotourism, for example, is one of the most amazing things that is happening around the world. Kruger National Park, the Greater Kruger National Park, I believe generates something close to about $400 million a year. Can you think of any, destructive land usage that can generate $400 million a year? And it's continuous, it's every year. If they build something, they'll make money once and after that it's over. So development and conservation are against each other. Unfortunately, the narrative is felt like that. They can be together. They really can be together. And there are wonderful examples of this across the world. You think the developed countries like Japan. Japan has one of the highest forest covers for any country, for such a tiny country.
I got to know they don't cut even the trees. They just pick it up and...
Yeah. So if Japan can do it, and Japan has a phenomenal economy, we can also do it. But I think it's a question of who do we follow. Do we want to follow the Japanese model of development, or do you want to follow other models of development which are not great that we know? Is really a question. And I think in India right now, with the pace at which India is growing, it is very important to ask these questions. What kind of India do we want? Do we want a lush, green, beautiful India, or we just want skyscrapers everywhere?
When you think of going into the extreme forest, what is the most beautiful part you feel that you're there? What are the things you like to do when you're there? It's for the mental peace you want to be there, or just
I think the simplest way to put this is, I'm the best version of myself when I'm in the forest.
best version of myself?
Yeah,
Okay.
like physically, mentally, everything. I'm feeling great. I'm at peace. I'm not impatient. And I'm just generally happy. It's the most continuous format of happiness that I know. To give you context, right? Let's say, I buy something new. I buy a new phone.
You know why I asked this question? Because I really want to understand where your happiness go.
That's what. So when I buy a phone,
Yeah.
it's at that point I'm happy. But if I'm in the forest from morning till evening, the whole time I'm happy. When I say happy, it's not like, I'm jumping.
Yeah.
But I'm like at this state of bliss, calm. Sometimes, like one of the questions that I was asked, what animal do you like the most? Which do you like to look at the most or something? Sometimes I watch trees.
Acha.
Very beautiful. I can spend a long time just watching trees and the breeze and the wind, and yeah, probably it's the best version of myself.
And how perspective changes when you're in that state? There's a lot of perspective outside, greed, and obviously a lot of things are there. But when you are there with yourself in the wild, the forest, what perspective changes to look toward the outer world?
I mean, personally for me, I realize how little we need to live.
How little
We need to live. Because you see these animals, they've not screwed up their environment.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
None of the animals have done it, and we've done it.
Agree.
Animals don't have stress, tension. I mean, they have. Of course, they have to hunt, or they have to run away.
Not like us.
Yeah, they have to run, they have fear. But yeah, how little do we need? There is no greed in animals, predominantly. Yeah, you could say some urban wildlife might, like monkey, but if you are in the wild, a tiger only kills how much it eats. A tiger is not killing for its, like 10 generations. Like I will kill for, you just can't store it, right? They don't have refrigerators in the forest. So you can only kill as much as you'll eat. You can't kill more. Same thing with a deer. It only eats as much as it wants. It's not storing it. In fact, even in the human evolution, there's a very distinct line when we switched from being hunter-gatherers to agriculture. Because until we were hunter-gatherers, we had to move long distances, so we had to carry our things. So you were thought to be very stupid if you had a lot of belongings, because you had to carry it. Your social status was calculated by how many great relationships you had.
Yeah.
The moment we stepped into agriculture, then we could get things, we could store, we could say property, that this all that started from that point. So until then, we were also like animals.
I don't know. That's stuck in my mind when you're talking about the air quality index also. How worse it will be in near future, right? But as you said, you're most of the time in the forest. The moment you come out in the urban cities, what worries you the most?
Air quality. No, I see a significant difference in how I feel in terms of simple things. My sleep, my digestion, my mental cognition easily is way better when I'm outdoor. When I'm in a city, it's not as great. My sleep quality is not great. My thinking, my cognition is much higher when I'm outside. So these are like basic things, right? Like, because everyone talks about sleep today. And I'm sure you have friends, if you ask them and went, oh, we slept like a baby. How are people sleeping like babies in the forest?
But I usually think that a lot of people go to up on the hills or wherever they feel most happy, alive. But moment when they come to the city, they don't feel the need of doing something for the sake of environment. So I think what else effort we can make, because nobody cares for the next generation. They only care for themselves.
See, I think we are a very proud country for all the things we've done. And I want to take a moment to highlight this, right? We've come a long way in sport, for example. The last Olympics, we were 70 or 71st or not. If you think of nature, biodiversity and conservation, we have the highest number of elephants and tigers anywhere on the planet. If there was a Olympics for biodiversity, I'm sure we would get the gold medal. I don't have any doubt. We have the strongest wildlife protection acts anywhere. It's better than Africa. It's better than a lot of these places. So this is our national pride. This is the most amazing thing that we have, that tomorrow nobody can say, oh, Britain can't suddenly say we'll have tigers. They just can't do it. I think if we all take pride in this, like we take in so many other things, we will become very, very protective of it. The moment there is pride and love, the same fervor with which we protect our loved ones and we take pride in our loved ones, we will take about this. And I think the first step to that is for people to understand how valuable this is and of course, one, how valuable it is, and second, what a matter of pride it is for our country. With 1.5 billion people, where else do you see elephants and tigers roaming so freely? And this is a country which still, when there is unfortunately a death or something of a person involved, we are still contemplating we should not kill an animal. I mean, this is a culture. This is not Bombay, with one of the highest densities of people anywhere on earth, has the highest density of leopards anywhere in the world. In the middle of a city, we have learned to coexist with leopards. Can you think of any civilization culture which is tolerant culturally? This is culture. This is, of course, right? You know, from even the mountains, the sacredness that we have for animals is huge. We worship animals. So I think we consider them sacred. We know it's a matter of pride and we love them. But I think we need to bring this narrative together.
Yeah, but we take pride in also in cutting down forests like Telangana forest you are cutting down.
It's like what Buddha said this once, okay? The ignorant people need more love because they're ignorant, right? It's mostly ignorance, right? Like, would you ever hurt somebody you love? Wouldn't, right? I wouldn't, you wouldn't. So it's just that I think somehow we've not done a great job of communicating this. And I hold myself responsible as a filmmaker, as somebody who cares about it. I think I've not done enough and I want to do more. And I used to be very, how do I say, very activism oriented about this. Why are people not doing it? And then I realized it's not going to get me anywhere. The most amount of agency I have is over myself. I can only change myself. I can ask you, I can request you, I can say, hey, can you not use plastic? But I can't change you, right? I mean, I can only request, or same the other way. So now I've focused on what can I do? What can I do? And can I get the goal, at least I'm working towards, is 1.5 billion people in my lifetime? Can I get at least 60-70% or at least 50% of India to care about this? Can I reach 1 billion people with nature? And if I can do that, I would consider my purpose somewhere met in some ways. So most of the work I do is towards that. Just get people to love nature. Take nature to people. If we can do that, then most of our work is done, right? So instead of asking, the age-old saying, right? Ask not what the country has done for you, ask what you've done for the country. So now I've started internalizing a lot more and thinking about let me not ask people to do something. I will show them this beautiful world that we have and do my bit for it.
You know this approach about minimalistic approach?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, right?
Yeah.
So let's say we have to solve the problem. You have to control the need over greed, right? Because whatever you want, what minimalist approach say, whatever you want, you always go for more needs, right? Let's say I'm okay with this one pant and I can go on for 1 year with this, right? But all the shopping companies will tell me, no, this is not enough. You have to buy 4 pants and look little more stylish. Both exist in the same situation, right? It's very, very hard to control the situation, because nobody will going to control the needs or the greeds. If we live in the same society, one is telling you buy more, buy more, buy more, and one as a consciousness is saying, okay, we should take little things from the nature so that it can go on and on. But do you think people take such approach? Because we live in the same society, we are teaching you both sides of the story.
You said something interesting, which is what you basically meant.
Yeah.
In the summary of this is we end up doing what media tells us is cool. FOMO, right?
They don't take any responsibility in saying it because it requires money. They take money for it, right? So when I asked you the same question, when two people are sitting on the chair, one is from the environmentalist background, one is from the business background, businesses always tell you to make money because we live in a materialistic society.
It's interesting, right? Until social media came, we were not buying so much.
Yeah.
Because you
thought
you one shirt and one trouser or whatever you had is now every day you're being shown so many things.
Yeah.
Suddenly you feel, oh, I need this. The need that didn't exist got created. But if we created a new need of minimalism, for example, if it became cool to be minimalistic, people would become minimalistic. See, this movement has started across the West slowly about not throwing things away, repairing and fixing. In fact, some of the top brands like Patagonia, which are like top adventure outdoor gear, they said, don't replace it. We will fix it for you. So there is conscious business starting across the world. So I think right now where we are in our country, I think if we also focus, because there's too much fast fashion. I met some young people recently who were influencers and things, and the only thing they could talk about was abhi ye trend mein hai, abhi mocha trend mein hai, abhi wo trend mein hai, we buy this. Let's just pause for a moment. All the e-commerce companies and the quick commerce companies were all in the last 5 years. If you live in a society or an apartment, have you seen the number of packages every day? And how many packages would we get just 5 years ago? I'm not saying, let's not go 20 years ago. In just 5 years ago, there are like just packages and packages and packages delivered. Did we not live before 5 years? And are we happier? The real question that we spoke about at the very beginning when I met you is, let's say, okay, are people happier with this than they were? I don't think so, because now you think, oh, I got this, now this I don't have, because you will see some other reel. You will see some other thing that, oh, now I don't have this. So are we optimizing for happiness? If that is the question, do we need this? Right?
But as a society, I must say, people, to come to this approach, people have to have broader perspective in life, which is very, very hard to expect from the materialistic society.
Like we are running in a hamster wheel. We are just running, not looking where we are running, why we are running, for what. If we take one step back, just 10 minutes, and think about why am I doing, what am I doing, what is my goal? A lot of people, I know are chasing something, right? How often have people asked, what am I chasing? What will I get? At the end of 70 years or something, I make $100 million. Abhi main kya karunga uske sath? What will I do? I can't go anywhere. I don't have health. I can't afford to go some of these. So what is the meaning of that money? Other than a social currency to say, I have this. So why do we chase anything? So I just think we just have to ask that question. Then we will know is this enough for me? What is enough for me? Like your first question, right? Why did you switch? I asked myself that question, 15, 17 years ago and said, what is important to me? And that's why I'm here where I am, right? And we have a very smart population. We are one of the smartest countries, right? We just have to take 2 steps back and think, why are we doing?
I'll tell you a similar incident, similar interesting question. Let's say I can make the change. I am at such a position, such a pedestal where I can actually make a change, right? Let's say I'm a politician, right? Let's come to one question. Not I'm against to meat eaters or something. I'm okay with it. Let's say I'm a position in a politics where I can say, okay, today we have to go vegan because a lot of these things are getting slaughtered, right? But India is the second largest exporter of meat and what do you say? And in the country, we are saying, oh, let's try to be this thing. That means we are in a circle where we are creating problems and thinking of solution. Not in this field, I'm just giving a little bit of example.
See, this goes back to the question that you asked earlier, right? Does this make long-term business sense?
No.
Right? That's the question, right?
Yeah.
So I predominantly have a plant-based diet because I think cruelty should not be for any animal, not just
wildlife. Yeah, because you're more close to them.
Yeah, but if you think of it, it's also economical to eat a plant-based diet is also economic. It's cheaper basically, right? Like, see, in South India, we eat idli, vada, dosa and all that. It's vegan by nature. Nobody's calling it vegan, but it's idli, vada, dosa, chapatis, it's vegan. So now there's enough research that is telling what is good for the planet, what is good for the body, what makes economic sense. Because meat and all of these things, I'm not saying one should do this or one should do that, but we have to look at it from a long-term perspective. In 20 years, what will happen? In 30 years, what will happen? Do we have enough area to grow? See, I think you would know this, that 70% of the land usage in United States is for farm elements, not for growing food for people, but to grow food for animals.
Yeah.
We don't have that kind of land. 1.5 billion people want to eat a certain type of food every day. We just have to put a little bit of thinking. Do we have that amount of space? I mean, it's more common sense, right? Like, and then perspectives change. Today, it is already difficult. That's why there's so much industrialized farming, because you can't have free range chickens or where is the space?
You merge ancient stories with modern conservation.
Right.
Why is mythology important in today's climate conservation?
Wow, it's a very powerful question. Looks like you got some intel on my upcoming projects, but see, who are our, what do we worship? If you really think about in India, what do we worship? We worship trees. Where in the world do people worship trees?
Trees, animals, yes.
Animals, right? New Zealand gave river human status. So we've given rivers God status. In fact, it's like this, right? And I heard this Sadhguru speak about this somewhere, and it really caught my attention. He said, when you go to any planet, what do you first look for as a form of life, to see a sign of life? You look for water. If water is life-giving, isn't water God? And I thought, wow, that's really powerful. So what do we worship? We worship things that give life, right? Gods are supposed to give us life. So we are a country that has traditionally, historically, been worshipping nature, the elements, the wild animals. So this whole new kind of thinking about, new format of thinking about nature, that nature is there, we are here, is a very recent 100, 150 years problem because of the Britishers who came in. The British have a very different understanding of nature. Right? The West has a very different understanding of nature, because in the West, human being is the top, and animal. We are not like that. We have never in any scripture put humans on top.
Yeah.
We have said Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means
everybody is part of
this one family. So why mythology is important is the same reason. We all today know that we have to go back to our roots. Yoga is amazing. We all know that. So even with nature, I think we don't have to learn anything new. We just have to go back to our roots. And our roots have enough that,
Any story you want to put forward?
well, if you think about um, conservation is very nuanced, right? I have to explain to you that if this apex predator is there, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. But if I tell you this is God, then you worship. The best example of this is in Karnataka. We have Western Ghats, one of the most biodiverse places on the planet, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is also home for king cobras, the longest venomous snakes,
Yes.
right? Anywhere. Nobody kills a king cobra in Karnataka because they worship it. Now, this is on the practices in the culture. But you look at it from a science point of view. Typically in your villages, you have these grain storage things, right? Like these big ones. I'm sure you have it here as well. Typically, rats come to eat.
Yeah.
Now, rats are eaten by the rat snake. So the rat population is controlled by the rat snake. And king cobras only eat snakes. Their scientific name is Ophiophagus hana, which means snake-eating snake. So the king cobra eats a rat snake. So the rats are kept under check by rat snake, and the rat snake is kept under check by king cobra. You see how automatically there is a balance. You don't have to safeguard your grains, everything, because everything is taken care of. Now, all this science is now put very simply that you worship the most apex predator.
Beautiful.
Right? Now, nobody kills it there.
One more question. So these are the questions which I have thought about it and I've written down for you. How do you see Indian storytelling tradition from temple craving to folk songs influencing your style of visual narrative?
See, we are a very rich country. When I say rich, we are rich in colors.
Are these valid questions?
Yeah. Of course. See, we are a product of our environment, right? If I only
I've seen your profile and you more want to talk about, relate to the stories and more.
No, it's important. It's also absolute need of the hour, right? I thought to myself, why are wildlife films failing in India? I asked myself. I also started making films the way we used to make in the West, because that's what we grow up watching.
Yes.
But the more I watched, I realized we are a very rich country. We have rich colors. We have rich music. We are excited in colors and everything. But why are you making such dull films? I asked myself this. I said, no, I want to make more exciting films. So where do you look for inspiration? You look at storytelling in our culture. You look at our dance forms. You look at our song. What an eclectic mix of arts we have. So today, Bollywood, everyone knows Bollywood in the world, right? If we can create a Bollywood, if we can send rockets to space,
yes,
we can build the most technologically advanced software sitting here. Why can't this be an India story? One, it has to be an India story, and it has to be an Indian version of the story. You see now Korean content, right? Korean content is not, it's authentically Korean content. They're not saying, oh, we'll make very English-styled content for the English. They're just making what they believe, and it's popular across the world. So I think one is a point of pride, that I really want to take pride in where we come from and what our culture is and what our traditions are, and celebrate it worldwide, which is the new India. We are building from India to the world. Building from India to India is also there, but we are now gone ahead. We want
most of the time I talk about on my show is that why we have to anymore copy the West when we have so much rich history and tradition. I think when we copy someone, we forget that we are having gold in our hand, but still looking at the other side, there's might be diamond we can find.
I'll add to this, okay? I'll add a layer of, how do I say, proof to this. If we have the highest biodiversity in terms of richness, why should you listen to it from people who don't have it? Right? Europe doesn't have any wildlife. So what are we going to actually hear from?
Yes.
We're already successful. We have it. So how? It's like saying, I'll learn how to make money from a poor person. Right? True. We are rich. Let's understand how we got rich, and let's not launder all the wealth that we have. We just have to make sure, because we have been losing a lot of forest cover, which is true. You know that our forest percentage has come down drastically. So we can't just. It's like generational wealth, right?
Generational wealth.
People squander it when they don't know the value of it. You know that people would have hard worked and built that empire or built that house or whatever, and then people squander it, and we shouldn't do that. We should take a moment to realize what we've already squandered.
Many people dream of awards, but you've lived them. What dream now feels bigger than any award?
I think it's the same thing, right? If somehow I can take this beautiful, not very known part of our country, the natural part of the country, and take it to every household in some way, but everyone is touched by this. I think that would be that would be bigger than any awards, and that would mean that I've lived a life that I'll be satisfied with, right? And the question of purpose, what makes me wake up every day with all the things that are happening, is that if somehow everyone, look, we are lucky. You grew up in the hills. I am lucky. Now, it's like I feel I have $1 billion with me, and now I have to pay it forward. I can't just enjoy the nature for myself. I can't just be the only one who's had access to these things. So, because of the math problem, because we're such a high population, we can't have access to nature created for everyone because of multiple reasons: accessibility, wealth, all of these things. But we can take nature to people, and that's the only thing that makes me get up every day and get excited and go about it.
This one is an interesting one. Spending years in the wilderness, what has nature taught you about human ambition and insignificance?
Human ambition and
Insignificance.
see, the first time I saw the Himalayas, right?
Hmm.
I learned how insignificant I am. First of all, you just stand in front of the mountain.
Very
And
gigantic, I see.
I was actually depressed when I came back because I had taken pictures, and the pictures don't do any justice, right?
Okay.
Because when you stand in front, what you see and the photo will never
I
capture,
haven't been so.
right? So one, it teaches you that you won't matter. You're too tiny in the scale of things. But also that everything is transient. See, when you see death in the wild, it's not a big deal. People go to film tiger hunting deer or something hunting something or something dying. So death is a very natural thing and is very well accepted. And things are transient, like seasons, right? Like the same tree I would have seen lush in 3 months is completely barren. I'll come back. So pretty much any life lesson when going through a crisis, right? The answer for me has been very easy to find in nature. See, all these things that are said, this too shall pass. Now you are in the forest, of course this too shall pass. The tree is going to get barren and then it's going to get leaves. So this too shall pass.
Part of the, what do you call? Life cycle.
Yeah. Cycle. Suddenly you will think it's too hot. It will rain one day. Now we are enjoying this beautiful Delhi monsoons, but it's going to get dry one day. So the goods also, the happiness moments also will not last, and the sad moments also won't last. So any thing that I've dealt with in life, sometimes most of the answers to how to deal with them also have been easy to find in nature.
So what's the story from the wild that chased you forever but never made it to the screen?
Well, I think the one thing that keeps changing me on an everyday basis, obviously all of them can't make it to the screen, is
but still you can share on our show.
Sunsets.
Sunsets.
I really enjoy sunsets. And every day when I am working and here and I forget about how beautiful the world is, at sunset suddenly it's like a reminder. Wow. It's like that. And for me, I think it's a good daily reminder, because not always do I have access to the wild, right? So I've somehow made sure that if I can get to see a sunset, no matter where I am, I try and see a sunset. And I feel that 2 times in the day, like nature puts on a great show, sunrise and sunset. Like 2 times, hey, can I get your attention? Look, it's all beautiful, but I'm going to make it even more beautiful.
Agree.
Right?
Agree.
Just, I will not, not exaggerating, just 2 days back before I took a flight to Delhi, just the previous evening, I saw one of the most amazing sunsets I've ever seen because it was storm, it was a rain. And when rain clears and sunset happens, it just gets super dramatic. It gets super, super dramatic. And it was like an hour from Bangalore where I went and saw this. So, yeah. I've been lucky to see some sunsets.
If you had to archive one story for the future of humanity, which one would you choose?
Oh, there's so many. I think a story which is very personal to me is the story of our country. And the story of our country, I've asked this to many people, and I'm sure if I ask you what makes India special, is a story of coexistence. We have learned to live.
Vasudha couldn't become again.
Right? We've learned to live with so many different languages, cultures, animals. We have learned to live harmoniously. I mean, most part, right? With every type of species, culture, language. And that's probably one of the greatest stories for humanity, a story of coexistence. And I think the story I want to not just archive, I also want to celebrate. I want to like really band bajake, I want to speak to the world.
There's one more interesting question because we were talking about it earlier also. With AI and VR, again, with AI and VR and immersive storytelling rising, do you think people will still want the rawness of real and untapped stories?
Of course.
You were talking about it.
Yes, of course. And I heard this just last week. Sam Altman said this, who's the founder of whatever OpenAI, is that people will still want to have something to do with real people, though, no matter what we do, and our own subjectivity. Like the simplest example, right? We both are sitting here, we both are having this conversation, we are looking at this, but your experience of this is very different than my experience of it, right? So our subjective experiences is what makes us so unique. And I think AI doesn't have subjectivity yet, right? But this subjective experience is what makes us unique. So if I say, let's watch a movie, whose movie? Oh, it's a Christopher Nolan film. What does it mean? I mean, there are many films, but what does a Christopher Nolan film mean? Or what does a Shah Rukh Khan film mean for us? It means something special. There are so many hundreds of thousands of films. So I think humans will definitely stay relevant, but like we also spoke, the authenticity, the depth, those things will matter. So anything which is very shallow will disappear, right? Like, so depth will matter. The real human genuinity will matter.
100% agree. This question is toward the futuristic approach. Okay. If you had to reimagine India's relationship with its forest, 100 years from now, what would you hope it looks like?
Oh, I hope it looks like what it used to be 100 years ago.
I want you to be honest.
No, really, if you could go back in time and look at what we were 100 years ago, just very lush. So can we get back some of those forests that we've lost? See, we've done a phenomenal job getting back tigers.
Yes.
Right? Yes. It's amazing, right? From such a low numbers, protection, forest department, the government, everyone put together to get back tigers. So I'm sure if we put our mind to it, anything is possible. So we are a very, very capable society. We're a very capable population. I think we can undo some of these things that have been done in the last few decades. I hope that we get back to a stage where how it was 100 years ago.
I really liked your take on the book Hug a Porcupine.
Yeah.
I want you to talk more about it on the show. Because it teaches you about the human relationship.
Actually, sometimes serendipitously things find you. Actually, I was somewhere and I just found this book. It was not my book. I didn't buy it. I just found it. I think it spoke about something very, very interesting, which is how in all cultures humans have always compared ourselves to some animal characteristics. So there has been a deep connection between animals and humans, not just in our culture, but across cultures. And I thought that book was very interesting that, it goes back to your earlier question. What do you think you get in nature?
That time I forgot to ask. It was a continuation, but yes, now I.
So in nature, even a porcupine, you can, love if you understand it well. And
Which is hard, yes.
right. But
Yes.
the more you understand, the more you can connect with it. So I think the book for me was, I think, a reminder that there's enough that we can learn looking at animals. Many, many things, right? Like you think about even an elephant. You can sit and watch them and their social behavior is outstanding. I'll give you a simple example. We think humans are very special. When two people are in crisis, you hug each other, right? So elephants do something similar. They put one trunk below the kind of trunk of another, and it kind of signals a certain gland to release certain chemicals, like how we have oxytocin, and they're comforted.
So I really want to know what you talked on the TEDx.
Crux was really about India and wildlife, and basically the same conversation we had, but in a more distilled format. Do we have hope? Where do we see ourselves
I'll
going?
tell you why. I wanted to watch it, but obviously it was. I
Yeah.
forgot to watch it, but still I want to know.
Yeah. So the idea was, where is nature conservation headed, one in the world and in our own country, and what are the things that we see ourselves be able to do? So it was mostly a distillation of what we spoke, but in a shorter time capsule.
But was there any solutions to it also?
More than solutions, because the solutions are very, how do I say, unique to a landscape. So I can't take a solution from a forest in South India and apply it to Himalayas, right?
Okay.
But it was more, one, is there hope? If there is hope, why do we have hope? Second, if there are concerns, what are the concerns that are concerning? So it was more from that angle, not very solution, because solutions, like I said, have to be hyper focused, but just a very 30,000 feet view of where are we headed, and what this means.
Why you wanted to talk about spirituality?
No, I didn't.
I asked you what makes you happy. You said one thing is this also.
What keeps me going, grounded and centered, has been some format of physical exercise. I need that. Otherwise, and some practice of spirituality. It could be meditation, it could be breath work, some format. And I've seen myself as a much better human being when I'm on the course, when I'm following these things regularly. For me, it's like a healthy diet. If I'm doing all these things, then I perform really well. My overall state of mind is much better. Otherwise, I'm a very jittery person in the city. I'm very, as much as I can be patient in the forest, in the city, I can be extremely impatient and all of that. So I felt that when I'm obviously not in nature, this is when I realized, right? I realized I can't have access to nature every day. It's impossible. Even if I'm doing this work, if I'm 2 weeks out, 2 weeks I have to spend in the city. And because the delta between that state and this state was so different, I said, now I have to figure out a hack to it. I need to see. Yeah, like I have to figure this out. Otherwise, I can't be happy there and like suffering here. And for me, fitness, sport, and workout was one answer, and some format of spiritual practice was another answer. And these two have just really worked wonders for me. I mean, this is not something that I talk about often or whatever, but this is my practice that really helps me stay focused, grounded. And I mean, even today before I came, I did a small kind of meditation, whatever. I came because I can be like I said, right? Like how nature makes me the best version of myself. The next thing is these practices.
Let's say you want to make a film, right? What all approach goes in your mind to make it visually to connect to more audience as compared to it was earlier?
I think one word that drives me with everything I do is empathy. When I say empathy, it's I have to care. I try to see from the shoes of the person who's going to watch my film. or who I want this film to be watched by. And I think to myself, an average city person who wants to watch this film has enough problems in life: traffic, work, family. If I make a film which is saying, oh, you're doing bad things to the environment, would that person want to watch it? सब डांट रहे हैं, टीवी पर डांट रहा है. Nobody wants to watch it, and that's been predominantly failure of some of these films. So I thought to myself, before any film, if I want to reach, like we just spoke, right? If I want to reach 1 billion people in our country, I have to first understand what do they like. I can't make some film that I want. I want to understand what do they like, what do they enjoy, right? And I mean, as much as it's important to educate, I also feel it's important to entertain. And our philosophy has been first entertain, get their attention, because first they have to at least give you attention before you say something, and then inspire them, and then educate them, because then they're ready for the education. If I randomly say, come, I'll tell you something about nature education, say, why? I have to go have 100 other things to do. But if I first entertain you, I've got your attention. Like the best example would be Satyameva Jayate, right? The show, right? Amir Khan. Once he was such an amazing entertainer, people would listen to what he would say. Or Shah Rukh Khan, when I did the type. Because he was Shah Rukh Khan, we all listen, right? So I think it's important to first give people what they came looking for, which is media is about entertainment predominantly, right? You're coming to switch off from reality and you want some mind off all the stress. So all my work goes towards this, understanding what people want, and then trying to say, okay, this is what people want, this is what I want to say. Now, how do I get these things together? Of course, I also want to say something. I can't just say, I'll do whatever people want. So how do you bring these things together, and like, how do you merge it beautifully in a way that nothing is compromised? What I want to say is not compromised. And people are giving you the most valuable thing. When they're watching your show or my films, they're giving the most valuable thing, which is attention and time. When we are asking people for something so valuable, don't you think we should do justice by what they want first? I mean, this is something that was taught to me by people I look up to, who are mentors of mine in the industry.
What do you think animal can teach and human cannot?
They don't have so many layers of complexity. And humans, by the nature, we are fairly complex. We can never be that simple. Very simple needs, right? Like, what does an animal need? Food and procreation. That's it. Everything else is, I don't want to die in the middle. That's it. Just protection against other things, and these two things.
So, what are the things you don't like about yourself?
Oh, a lot of things.
Still,
I want to do another podcast.
Yeah.
No, I think like I said, I work on my impatience a lot, right? And sometimes my attention is all over the place. Like, one of the things I've been trying to cut down when I'm in the city is I'm on the phone when I'm in the city a lot. So now I'm like, how do I cut down my phone time? When I'm out, there is no problem. But now I can't keep saying I want to be outdoor, right? So I want to get to that same state in the city, which is a bit of a hard problem because my attention goes all over. I'm on the phone, I watch Instagram, this. So I want to cut down my own use of screen time. It's been very hard. I do sometimes I put this screen time and measure and all that. Ek hafta karta hoon, and after that second week I forget. So that's been something. And yeah, also to be kinder. That's something that I would like to work on myself a lot. I can be unkind at times to people.
Like when?
When my patience is run out, or I think that people are not understanding what I'm saying, or things like that. So I want to, yeah, it's a
Anger issues?
Yeah, sometimes, because that's all this is fueled by impatience and not being heard, and you can't expect the harmony of nature and balance of everything everywhere, right? And the same empathy that I practice at work, I also want to practice in personal life. And
That's why you said I want to be more inclined to spirituality.
yeah, so that's an ongoing work, right? And
is it the things anything do with the God, your relationship with God, or is it just about practicing yoga and all?
I mean, the way I think of
that's
God,
what I want to understand.
the think of God, right, is that I definitely believe there is a higher force than all of us. It could be nature. It could be the sun, which is giving us all the energy, right? So to accept that we are insignificant, that and there are forces much larger than us at play, I think will bring a lot of humility. And I think it also drops the ego quite a bit. The I, tune down the I. So all of this are obviously spiritual practices, right? To tune down the I and ego. And it has to be a constant job, because what I realize is that you can't 2 days sit and meditate and all that, and third day it'll go off. Third day your ego will crop up, this, that will crop up. So it has to be a constant reminder, and a constant reminder is through constant practice.
My second last question, what do you usually talk to yourself? The people who maybe in the forest or wherever they go, or who have some anger issues or like impatient, and they usually like to talk to themselves in the meantime whenever they are alone or somewhere else. What do you like to talk about more?
I'm more than talking, I'm doing a recap of things, right? Like if something was not great that week or something didn't go well, I spend a lot of time thinking about why did that happen and what was my role in that. Obviously, most often we think that the other person is the problem. So when I'm obviously alone, I'm thinking, okay, where was my fault in it, and what could I have done better? And if I give it enough thought, I typically pick up where the issue was.
If you find your fault, do you say sorry?
Of course, 100%, 100%. It was very difficult long ago, but now I've learned that that's one of the most, as much as it's the most vulnerable thing to do, it's also the most relieving, light feeling in the world. Because once you said, now you are light. It is only till the point that you say it is very hard, but once you say it, it makes your life very easy, very light. It takes the burden off. So, I mean, I've had to work on it. It's not been very easy. First to see the problem. Sorry, bolna to second. First to see, because we always think that we are right, we are right, we are right.
What do you think is the real wisdom is?
Wow. I think, I don't know about,
That's why I'm not saying what you think of,
Yeah.
you are a wisdom person or, but I'm saying, what do you think about the wisdom?
I just think to look inward mostly. I heard this line. I think it was by Buddha. Yesterday I was smart. I was trying to change the world. Today I'm wise. I'm changing myself. And this particular one, I think, has been closest to me. And we spoke about this earlier, even in terms of conservation and all that. Is that instead of focusing on what other people can do, now I've predominantly started thinking about what can I do, and that's been my focus, because I have full agency. What I can do, I have 100% control.
I was saying this thing because a lot of, in this world, people are more preachy, right? That's why I said, what do you think about the real wisdom? So my last question before closing the show, whatever you want to say, straight from your heart, you can say to the viewers.
I think it's nice to be on a show that is focused on impact, because I think I want more such things to happen. And not just me. I think we should all come together as a massive army, for our own betterment.
Yeah.
Right? Taking care of the forest, wildlife and all, not for wild animals. So also for us. We drink the same water.
Yeah.
We breathe the same air. The most important cause of our lifetimes is going to be air, water and food. Because this affects every gender, every race, every religion, every species, every life form. Without air, there is no one and nothing, right? And I hope that as a country which is now among the top in the world for many things, we take stock of this and really celebrate and take pride in what we have, and start doing something that we can do. Like you said, I don't want to preach. Everyone, we know if we have to take care of our home, we know what we have to do. So can we take care of our home a little better?
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being on Impact Stories.
Thank you so much. I had a lovely time.
Same here.